everybody. It's Friday, aka Fri-YAY, the kickoff to the weekend for a fantastic weekend indeed. I am obviously home. I'm in my home studio right now, but I'm going out of town this weekend, which I'm really excited about for my sister's white coat ceremony as she starts medical school. So if you guys have anybody that you know in your life that's been in med school that is on their way to being a doctor, or they do this for pharmacy school and nursing school and all that stuff too, you've been to a white coat ceremony. If not, a white coat ceremony is really cool. It's kind of like before you start med school, they give you your little official lab coat as a doctor to be. It's adorable. And so my sister and her boyfriend have their white coat ceremony in Cleveland this weekend, and I am headed to OHIO tonight very late, which I'm very excited about. So if any of you guys are from Ohio, I'm coming to your neck of the woods. If you are familiar with med school stuff, this is a really big deal for my sister, so please keep her in your prayers as she starts this next journey for the next several years of her life, and we need a lot of really good, valuable, values-based doctors more than ever before in America right now. So shout out to Gabby and Jared. I'm so proud of both of you guys and can't wait to celebrate you this weekend. But first things first, we got a lot to talk about on the stream. You guys like my shirt, huh? It's like a Spotify version, album cover vibes of the national anthem. This was an old shirt from one of my old merch collections many years ago. So very fun. I'm glad you like it. Speaking of merch, everybody in Locals is asking for merch. If you would like merch, we can consider that. But I need to know it's bigger than just the Locals fam that is wanting that. So drop that in the chat if that's something that you're interested in. And also, speaking of Locals, I know you guys are waiting on an episode. It's having a hard time processing the video, so we're trying again this afternoon, but I've been told this is not unique to our community. This is kind of happening across the board. So we do have an episode of our faith-based series, Domus, coming to you about why the FBI is so strategically going after Catholics, and now how is Congress responding to the FBI's decision to weaponize our law enforcement agencies against Catholic Americans practicing their faith. It's a really crazy time. Lots going on in the world, and we got a lot to unpack about that. So don't you worry. That episode is coming. It is coming. It's just having a really weird time processing videos, but it's not just us on Locals that are having a hard time with that right now. It is kind of across the board. Let's say hi to some people as we kick things off for the stream today. We're going to be talking about one news story related to the FDA approving over-the-counter birth control pills. Why I think that is an absolutely terrible, disastrous decision to be doing that, and how I think it's going to only continue negatively impacting Generation Z. After we talk about that, we're going to be watching some of the funniest videos that I saw this week on the internet. It's been a while since we've done Friday Funnies, but especially after a really heavy, dark, really tough news week on the stream, I thought it would be really fun and lighthearted for us to just watch some funny videos that have nothing to do with all of the evil, crazy things going on in the upside down world that we live in today. So we're going to do that. And then we'll jump over and do an extra long little Q&A over in our Locals community, which all of you guys will be, of course, invited to. So that's the layout of the day. We are live right now on YouTube, on Facebook, on Getter, on Rumble, and of course, on Locals, and a bunch of you guys have hopped over from Instagram and TikTok. So if you are here from there, hello, we are glad you're here and can't wait to start streaming over there. Eventually, they are rolling out RTMP streaming just a lot slower compared to everybody else. So eventually we will be over there for all of our hundreds of thousands of friends on that corner of the internet as well. But in the meantime, let's say hi to everybody who is here. Evan and Leon are watching on YouTube. You guys liked the new intro music. We're just going to try some new stuff. It's going to be really fun. Cooper, is it your birthday? Oh no, it's Bastille Day. Happy Bastille Day. How would you say Happy Bastille Day in French? I took French for 1 year in high school, and I really don't remember very much of that. But happy Bastille Day, Cooper. I'm glad you're here. Icing on the cake is watching and clearly watched yesterday. Yo, homie, hopefully you got the insight on them AI robots. They are no joke. Yeah, they're absolutely crazy. Not very fun, but we are just not about that. Caitlin is here, says, Isabel, speaking of weird videos, did you see this about the man who paid 2 million yen to get a lifelike collie costume because he's always wanted to be a dog? No, but I need to watch that now and react to it clearly. So Caitlin, thank you for that. If you have a link to that video, will you drop it in the chat so I can go check it out? Because that sounds absolutely crazy. We've got others watching. Josh is here from Michigan. Frostfang is watching on YouTube. We've got a bunch of you guys over on our Rumble gang. Don't forget to use the chat over there so we can say hi to all of you. Nitty Witty is here. The World is Like a Zoo is here. JL Griff is watching. We've got Throw Out Your Birth Control watching. Very appropriate for today's episode. And more. And of course, the Locals gang, Crazy Cat Lady, Alex Padron, African Warlord, who's very excited about a fun stream. Yeah, we really needed a fun stream. Let's be honest. It was a long week. M-Rock is here. We've got Daniel Maynard and Brian watching, Johnny Diamond and AJ, the whole gang. You guys are so great. Thank you for always being here, especially if you guys are these people who somehow enjoy all the things that I have to say enough to sit here and watch me every single day. My parents do not understand why people do that. I am unbelievably grateful for your support. So thank you for not being sick of me. I hope that you enjoy the weekends of like having your time off from listening to Isabel talk into the ecosystem of the internet every single day. But more importantly, the stream is not about me, it is about you guys. So especially if you're newish around here, make sure you're using our chat over on the side throughout the entire stream, because this whole point is to get ourselves talking in real time, reacting to things in real time, and creating a sense of community on our little corner of the internet for all of you guys. So this is all for you to create that conversation space. Thank you to my sweet fiance for making me a cup of coffee. Shout out broccoli, not coffee, tea. Clearly, I need another cup of coffee. My goodness. So we have a lot going on, but I say we jump right in. So if you guys haven't already heard, the United States Food and Drug Administration, or the FDA, recently approved this week the first ever over-the-counter birth control pill in the United States that's going to be available at pharmacies. You do not need a prescription from a doctor to obtain these birth control pills, and it's expected to hit shelves of pharmacies early 2024, so early next year. Before I provide any commentary whatsoever or any of my own personal 2 cents on the issue, I want to just give you the 30,000-foot overview of what is going on. So let me pull it up right here because I think this is super important if it's going to let us. Come on, you can do it. Oh, goodness. You guys, it's being silly. Hang on. All right, we're just going to have to start a new window. We'll share it. Don't you worry. So the FDA announced this a few days ago, and it actually made me really sad because while most people are like pretty excited about this, and while most people are like ecstatic that this is happening, I think this is an absolutely devastating reality for the women of my generation. This is not pro-woman. This is not empowering one bit whatsoever. This is potentially the most dangerous thing outside of the gender transition drugs that are being distributed to teenagers and to young women and men all across the country. This is unbelievably devastating for the health, both physically and mentally and emotionally, and the identity of the young people in America right now, because I don't think we often think about just how much of an impact hormonal birth control actually has on a young mind, a developing mind, and your social life and your personality and your most intimate relationships. But it is a really devastating reality. So I'm going to provide my own commentary in just a second, but want to give you all of the facts first. Like I mentioned, the very ever first over-the-counter birth control pill in the U.S. has been approved. It's called O-Pill. Oral contraceptive, oral pill, I guess, isn't expected to hit shelves until early next year. The Food and Drug Administration on Thursday approved the oral contraceptive O-Pill for over-the-counter sales, making it the first ever hormonal contraceptive pill available in the U.S. without a prescription. This is a really big deal because while non-hormonal birth control does exist without a U.S. prescription from a United States licensed doctor, like condoms, for example, hormonal birth control through IUDs, through the shot, through the little implant thing in your arm, and certainly through pills have never been available over the counter without a prescription until now. And many people are saying this is a major win for medical groups, including the AMA and the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, OBGYNs, which have been pushing for years for an over-the-counter birth control pill. It also comes amid legal battles, according to NBC News, on women's reproductive rights. Okay, this is a monumental decision, said a professor of gynecology at Northwestern. Over-the-counter birth control is available in over 100 countries, so we've been behind in availing safe, effective methods such as this oral contraceptive pill to individuals who are trying to avoid pregnancy. O-pill is also known as the mini pill, contains only one hormone. It's progestin, and if you're not very familiar with the actual pharmacology of birth control pills, progestin is a synthetic progesterone. So it mimics progesterone, which is naturally in your body, but it's not exactly the same thing. And actually a lot of progestins, the way that they are created in the lab for the pharmaceutical that you are taking, is from a synthetic testosterone base. So you're taking testosterone, you're altering the chemical structure and the bonds to look more like a progesterone, but it's still a testosterone-based synthetic alternative to progesterone, which is really scary. And that's why a lot of people who start taking birth control can have side effects like facial hair, like weight distribution, like breaking out on your face, because you're literally taking testosterone, which is really, really crazy. The FDA said that it is approving the over-the-counter version for all users of reproductive age, including teenagers, so that means adults and minors alike, that is expected to remove barriers to access and reduce the risk of unintended pregnancies. Almost half of the 6.1 million pregnancies in the U.S. each year are unintended, according to the FDA. In other words, there are 3 million pregnancies every single year in America that are unintended pregnancies. Call me crazy. I don't feel like slapping a free over-the-counter, not always free, but very accessibly affordable over-the-counter pill is the answer to stopping unexpected pregnancies. Call me crazy. I feel like a pill is really just a Band-Aid to the underlying problem, because it's not like if you are abstinent and you start taking this pill, you're preventing something. We seem to have a lot of growth to do in the national conversation of what causes pregnancy. And I'll tell you what, when I traveled the country on these college and high school campuses, especially with Students for Life of America, I ask this question to students quite a bit, because it's absolutely crazy that most of these students I talk to can't honestly tell me what is causing pregnancy. You ask people, what is the purpose of sex? What is the purpose of intercourse? And they just look at you like a deer in the headlights. Not one of them will answer to create another human being, to procreate another human being. Literally not one of them. If you ask them, where do babies come from? They just kind of like look at you. And I feel like we are a smart enough country to be able to answer the question, where do babies come from? And the answer is not by not taking a pill. The answer is, I had sex. What people are failing to realize by treating this over-the-counter birth control pill as a solution to the 3 million unintended pregnancies in the United States every year is that there's still a chance that an unintended pregnancy can occur. If you don't take the pill at the same time every day, that chance goes up. Even if you do take the pill at the same time every day, that chance does still exist. So the idea that this is going to be some magic solution to 3 million unintended pregnancies is just a lie. But beyond the preventing unexpected pregnancies, beyond preventing unintended children that are not wanted or not loved, which is what I often hear from the pro-abortion side of this conversation, and people who are really rejoicing over this as we're going to decrease abortions now, we're going to make abortion go away now, which is a fallacy. That's not exactly true. Statistically, having access to birth control does not actually reduce abortion rates at all. In fact, California is the state with the highest birth control usage in the entire country per capita, and they also have one of the highest abortion rates per capita. So that just goes to show you, statistically speaking, more birth control does not equal less abortions, despite what many people will tell you. But beyond all of that, I am vehemently against providing over-the-counter birth control for another reason, and that is the really specific, understandable reality that many Gen Z women are having to live through right now, myself included, that birth control pills, hormonal birth control, understanding that there's a difference between hormonal birth control and non-hormonal birth control. Hormonal birth control is terrible for you. It is awful for you. And I'm not trying to say that to be a crazy right-wing conspiracy theorist. I'm not trying to say that to suggest that quitting is the absolute best solution for you. Please do not misunderstand me. You need to figure that out with your physician and what's right for you. But as someone with intimate experience of having her health completely annihilated by a little pill that I was promised was going to make my health improve, I can say with 100% certainty, taking birth control for 9 years of my life decimated who I was, decimated my mental health, and certainly put my physical health in danger as well. But to a much more important degree, completely changed everything about who I am. Like, I truly am a completely different person after I decided to quit birth control. And in the last few years since making that decision, am unbelievably happy that I did. I will never look back, and I will keep sounding the alarm on this over and over and over and over and over and over again until more women have the opportunity to be totally aware of what is going on. If quitting birth control is something that you're considering, please do consider it. Lauren, I see you in our YouTube chat that your title literally says, please quit your birth control. I do think that that's the best decision for you, but you need to figure that out with your doctor, because I understand that that does work specifically better for women who have diagnoses of endometriosis, of PCOS. Like, I am a biomedical sciences major. I was pre-med. I totally understand that there are perfectly valid situations where hormonal birth control might make a really big difference for the better in your life. But for the average young woman who is being prescribed birth control for the purposes of getting rid of your acne, helping your migraines, a really heavy period flow, bad period cramps, self-esteem, everybody else is doing it, you should just be on it anyway, because what if you get a boyfriend and you decide to do all of that? We are not fully educated on what the impact of this pill is actually going to be, and we are promised that this is going to be a one-size-fits-all solution to all of the problems in our life, all of that litany list that I just mentioned and more, and in reality, it's causing a lot more problems than it's supposedly solving. And I say supposedly because, at least in my situation, and according to the thousands of stories that I've interacted with in the last few weeks on social media alone, most of the time, all of those problems like acne, like heavy periods, like really bad cramping and back pain, like migraines and weight gain and all of that, those symptoms are either just masked or exacerbated by taking birth control instead of solved. But I picked up a book about a year ago and have totally rehashed this book with you a million times. So if you haven't read it already, if you haven't purchased your copy, now is the time. It's called This Is Your Brain on Birth Control by Dr. Sarah Hill. I literally read it in one day. I could not recommend this book more. It was just absolutely fascinating to understand. When I was prescribed birth control at 15, I was taking Accutane. So the government mandated that you also be prescribed oral contraceptives, because if you had a baby, if you conceived a baby while you were on Accutane, there was a really high chance of severe birth defects for the baby. But most doctors' offices and most state governments would not let you pledge abstinence, wouldn't let you say, I'm not going to have sex. They just wouldn't believe you, apparently. So you also had to be on hormonal birth control. So I was prescribed this at 15, and I was basically promised by my dermatologist and by my primary care physician and by everybody, oh, this is going to be great for you. You're going to keep off all your acne. You're going to feel really beautiful. You're going to feel like your best self. Your hormones won't go so crazy all the time. You won't have to worry about getting your period every month, blah, 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 blah. And then pretty much every few years, even when I was well done with Accutane for years and years and years and years and years, when I asked about maybe I should be considering quitting, maybe I don't really need to be on this anymore, every single healthcare practitioner in my life basically pushed me into staying on by saying, well, if you quit, you're going to get really bad migraines. And if you quit, you're going to get really bad acne and you're going to break out. And if you quit, you're going to put on a bunch of weight. Are you sure you want to do that? And if you quit, you're going to have really bad periods. And nobody wants to have really bad periods, even though that's literally what your body is built for as a woman of reproductive age. And there was this long list of what if. But meanwhile, pretty much the entire time I was on this pill, from age 15 to 24, almost 9 years of my life, I struggled without even fully comprehending what was happening behind the scenes. And again, this is not a universal experience for everyone, but the more young women I talk to, the more universal I'm realizing this experience actually is. And it's very sad. I kind of always felt emotionally neutral. I never got super excited about anything anymore, and when I did feel really big feelings, they were usually to the negative, meaning really depressed or even worse. I struggled with really severe anxiety all the way through high school and college, and depression at some points as well. I didn't really want to do all of the things that were my personal hobbies anymore. I kind of just wanted to stay at home and not do anything and just be Just neutral is a really good word to explain all of that. I had a series of some really bad boyfriends, and it's interesting now, the studies that are coming out about what type of men you are attracted to when you are taking hormonal birth control. And I had a really hard time responding positively in a constructive way to stress. Whenever I got really stressed out, which in college was all the time because I was pre-med, I was studying biomedical sciences and had to have all-nighters all the time studying for OChem and my anatomy class and all of that, I would basically just fall apart at the seams as a human being. Like I had no idea how to respond to stress positively or negatively or just in a constructive way at all. And I kind of felt like I was just a hollow shell of the type of person I wanted to be. Like I consciously knew this isn't really right. This isn't who I'm supposed to be, but I had no idea what was causing it and genuinely just thought something was wrong with me. It was almost like there was like a fog clouding and facading every aspect of my entire life. And I hear this exact same description from so many people, literally thousands of young women that I've been connected to through social media that start to say the exact same thing. And that was pretty much the extent of the emotional side that I went through without oversharing too much because this isn't a therapy session. But like I really struggled. I really struggled throughout all of my high school years and all of my college years. Thank God I never attempted to unalive myself. I know you guys are going to laugh at how I said that, but you'll get censored on the internet if you say the other thing. So thank God I never attempted to do that. I was never prescribed antidepressants or anti-anxiety meds, but I easily could have been if I had gone down that road. I just went down the mindfulness training instead of therapy track myself. And I wish that I could get those years of my life back because I really had no personality. My personality kind of just became whatever my boyfriend at the time was into, and that's what I like to do for fun. And it was really sad because I'm an extremely passionate, hobby-driven young woman that missed out on so many opportunities to tap into her fullest potential of who she could be for a very, very long time. Jake, thank you so much for your donation in our super chat. Appreciate you so much. So that was really my experience, but I decided to quit after I read this book, This Is Your Brain on Birth Control. And it was like the final nail in the coffin for me when I was 24-ish. And was like, I can't keep doing this to myself. I want to figure out who I'm really supposed to be at the end of all of this. And so I read this book and was completely fascinated to discover that, yes, logically speaking, I should have known this as a biomedical scientist, but I never had thought deeper than, hey, here's a doctor handing you this pill, it must be safe about the subject. I just lacked any critical thinking about this because I'd been taking birth control for so long. Beyond all of the warnings and the potential really rare side effects from taking hormonal birth control pills, like an increased risk for breast cancer, like an increased risk for strokes and blood clots and weight gain and acne and migraines. I really struggled with migraines for a long time, and I have yet to have a seriously debilitating one since I quit birth control. So that's a fascinating tidbit. But beyond all of the physical side effects that you are warned about in the doctor's office, I ended up experiencing so many aha moments reading this book of like, that was me, that was me, that was me. Because if you think seriously about regulating your hormones, what this book really lines out for you is that to regulate your hormones is not to just turn off one switch on a giant switchboard that says, oh, you're not going to get your period this month, and therefore you're not going to get pregnant. Period. End of story. And that's it, right? That's what we think birth control actually is. But to regulate your hormones, to control how much estrogen and progesterone are pumping in your body at any given time, means you have to change everything about your hormone signaling in your body. And there was this one sentence in this book that has stuck with me to this day. We talk about hormones as young women as if they're something that happens to us, right? I'm just really hormonal today. I'm just like, blah, blah. I'm just so hormonal. The reality is you are your hormones. Everything about you is directed by your hormone signaling system and your endocrine system in your body. How much energy you have, how you respond to stress, when you get hungry, if you get hungry, what things smell like to you, who you find physical attraction to, how physically attracted you are to them, your sex drive, how much you want to listen to music, what you look like physically according to other people, like your face shape and face symmetry. All of these things are determined by your hormone signaling in your body. So when you decide, hey, I'm going to try to switch one thing off on the switchboard, you actually just like run your hands all over the switchboard and change everything about who you are. It's kind of like when Buddy the Elf is sitting there in the elevator and he like pushes all the buttons to go to every single floor in the Empire State Building. Every button gets pushed and changes in some specific way. And some of those side effects do include like emotional neutrality and feeling just kind of mid about things. Most often it leads to a massively increased risk of anxiety and depression. One new study that just came out says teenage girls who start taking hormonal birth control pills are 130% more likely to experience severe clinical depression. There are links between increased rates of suicide and suicide attempts and taking hormonal birth control pills. And I find no coincidence, by the way, that so many teenage girls have been prescribed birth control for every problem under the sun. And in 2021, 1 in 3 teenage girls seriously considered ending her own life. That is not a coincidence to me one bit, because those two things are not just correlational. We are now finding that they could be causational, which is really, really crazy. There are a million other things. What type of man you are attracted to. It turns out they've done mass studies about this now, and women who take hormonal birth control pills are typically less aware of the pheromones coming from a man that she would be attracted to. So you are attracted for other reasons, or that is all masked and the pheromones smell different to you than what they normally would smell like. And so you're not as physically compatible to have a healthy child. More statistically speaking, you are statistically more likely to be attracted to a feminine man rather than a masculine man if you are taking hormonal birth control. And then just the loss of all of your hobbies, wanting to go out and do things, feeling like your full self. I was reading this book and I felt like I was just reading an entire portrait of my life. And I didn't really consciously realize, wow, almost every single one of those things that I know deep down in my gut, I just kind of feel like is off. That can all be attributed to the fact that I'm taking birth control, and I have been for 9 years. And maybe I don't even really know who I am, like, at all. What if I have no idea what my actual personality is like? I kind of just want to quit and see what happens. The worst case scenario, I feel no different, and I just take it again anyway, and I break out all over my face, and I get really bad breakouts. My acne comes back, and I'm embarrassed a little bit. And if that's the worst case scenario, I can just go back to taking it if I want. And that'll be that. But ever since I quit, I have yet to have a really serious breakout. I have yet to feel clinically depressed or anxious. And that was something I struggled with for literally a decade of my life. I have yet to put on a ton of weight all at once. I have yet to experience debilitating, crippling migraines that sent me to urgent care, which happened very, very, very many times while I was taking birth control. In fact, I even had a prescription migraine medication at the time because it was so bad, so regularly. And my period has been really normal. Nothing has been really insane. And I know that's probably a little bit of oversharing, but we believe in transparency here because I want young women to know if you quit, you are not alone. Because I'm saying all of this on the internet now, like ringing the alarm bells of I have a decade of my life that I'm not going to get back from a version of me that was not really the real me because she was completely wigged out on different hormones and on a different version of herself with this like alternate reality that didn't need to exist. And I want you to know, if you quit, you're not going to regret it, right? That's what I keep saying over and over and over again. And out of the woodwork has been this massive movement from within my generation saying, wow, it doesn't matter if I'm a conservative or a liberal. It doesn't matter if I'm a feminist or not. It doesn't matter if I'm dating or single or sexually active or not. Like, nobody is happy taking hormonal birth control pills. Very, very, very few people. I even had this experience with this conversation on the Whatever podcast a few months ago, which you guys probably remember I was on and had so much fun being on the Whatever podcast in Santa Barbara a few months ago, but was totally shocked looking around this table with women who could not have less in common with me culturally, religiously, politically, period. No pun intended. But around the table, from a former sex worker to a OnlyFans creator to a recovering sex addict to like really promiscuous college girls and me, all over the board, every single woman around this table was either in the process of quitting their birth control or had already quit and said birth control was a scam. It completely changed who I am. It completely ruined my life. I do not want to take this anymore. And I am telling every single one of my girlfriends and my family members and everybody, stop. Stop feeding yourself this concoction of drugs that's making you a different version of yourself. I was floored because I never expected that. But in the last several months have just been so blown away in a really positive way about how much people are responding to this really crazy reality. That's been my experience so far, and I say so far because Nitty Witty reminds us of something in our Getter chat, that birth control is also seriously impacting the fertility of very, very many people. As you all know, millennials and Gen Zers who are getting pregnant right now are having really extremely high rates of miscarriages and infertility, which is really, really sad. And I have to wonder how much of that is attributed to birth control use. They're not really studying any of this, at least en masse at a societal level, because I don't think they really want to know the answer. But as I get married next year and start thinking about that process of my life, I pray that I have not destroyed my opportunity to be a mom and have kids, because I believed every single healthcare practitioner in my life telling me that this was going to be the best case scenario and make me the best version of myself, when in reality, it's created the worst version of yourself for so many women that are never going to get those years back. And so I see stories like this FDA approved O pill to be over the counter and is so vehemently praised in the media and by our politicians and by content creators. And I just want you to know, if you are a young woman watching this, if you have a young woman in your life who is watching this, and there's a part of you really deep down, whether you want to admit it or not, that just doesn't feel like you, that feels like there has to be more out there, that there has to be more to your personality, that there has to be more to feeling emotionally mid the entire time, I challenge you, try 6 months, 6 to 9 months. Without birth control. And I guarantee you, you are not going to be able to recognize the young woman who comes out on the other side. Make yourself aware, not just of the physical potential side effects that are in the tiny fine print in the little plastic package that you throw away every single month that you don't even look at, but understand what this is doing to your personality. Understand what this is doing to your mental health. Understand what this is doing to your relationships, the people that you're dating and your friendships and your relationships with your family members alike. Because ultimately, hormonal birth control pills are not the magic one-size-fits-all perfect solution to all of the ailments that you're dealing with in your life, and certainly are not going to be empowering to you in any way, shape, or form. In reality, hormonal birth control pills might just be destroying your health and destroying any opportunity to empower yourself far more than you could ever imagine. I will be vehemently speaking out against this FDA decision over and over and over again and ringing the alarm bell until every single woman in my generation at least has the opportunity to make a truly informed decision for herself rather than just blindly listening to everything that culture says. But if you are somebody who has quit, if you know people who have quit, if you have young women in your life, please speak up now, because I think most people are just really afraid of what might happen if they do quit. They're afraid of being the weird girl that isn't on it when everybody else is on it. Just trust me, give it a shot, and you will not regret it. I promise you. And you might disagree with me. There's a lot of people who've been disagreeing with me in the chat today. That's totally fine. I welcome that all the time. But I'm seeing way too much of a pattern here to genuinely believe that this is a coincidence. Way too much of a pattern here to believe that this isn't causing massive societal damage that we probably won't be able to understand for several decades to come. All right, you guys, let's switch gears a little bit and watch some fun videos, the funniest videos on the internet that I encountered this week. We're going to have some fun, so grab a bag of popcorn, have some fun, sit back, drink a cup of tea, and we're going to react to some funny TikTok videos now. These are literally all over the board. I kind of put them in like a random assortment. I have no idea which one is coming next. I just dumped them all into a Premiere project and exported it. So it's going to be a jolly good fun time. What do you say? We just jump right in.
It's men's fault.
Okay, I'm going to kick us off first by saying this guy is absolutely hilarious. His entire page cracks me up and he does not get enough credit. Here we go.
Women get periods. And my dick is evil. Yeah, I think a woman should get paid the same as a man for the same job. Of course women have the right to smoke while they're pregnant. I mean, provided they haven't burnt the dinner for that day.
Oh my God.
I mean, if they've done that, you know.
No. This man got his start on TikTok by pretending to be that annoying kid in elementary school. And lately, he has just been branching off in a million different directions. His name's Kyle Gordon, I think. Absolutely hilarious guy, but he's been making fun of every single group. And I have to just say, maybe it's the Catholic in me here. Tell me you don't know someone who goes to a church like this. I certainly do, but just hear me out.
What if God was one of us? Turns out she is. Remember, Jesus Christ was a black man, and I love reminding people of that. I figured God gifted us with such a beautiful day. Let's have church outside. Remember that Jesus loves you just the way you are. And if you don't believe in God, that's totally fine. You're welcome here. We're just hoping to change your mind. When God speaks to me, she doesn't yell. She whispers. If you think about it, Christ was the first Marxist. We feel that every religion is equal. We just believe this one a little bit more. And welcome Executive Pastor Allison Kern, who just married her wife.
Tell me that you do not know someone who goes to church like this. This is absolutely on the money. Maybe his best video ever. Joshua says I had to quit my church because of that in the YouTube chat. Oh my gosh, you guys, I can't.
Whether it takes 2 hours or 4 hours, I don't care. If you're part of this team, you're staying until the routine is clean.
Maybe that one just hits a little too close to home for me. We're gonna watch it again. When your fiance is just realizing how much work planning a wedding is.
Whether it takes 2 hours or 4 hours, I don't care. If you're part of this team, you're staying until the routine is clean.
If you asked my fiance about all the stupid little details I've been stressed out about the last few weeks planning this wedding, he would have no idea what we're doing. I don't blame him. It's just the man's thing. I don't know. Men know nothing about their own wedding. Have you noticed that? We have been to several weddings, like 8 in the last year with all of Brock's friends from high school and college. And he's in the wedding as a groomsman or whatever. And we'll be there. And on Saturday, I will look at the groom at like noon, dead in the eyes, and be like, hey, when do you guys need to be there? Like, shouldn't you be getting ready? And the groom will always look at me and say, I don't know. At his own wedding. I mean, African Warlord says, we know we're getting married. What more is there to know? I guess for men, that is true. Okay. This one requires a little preface because it's so good. If you guys are on Netflix still, you'll know that Suits just came to Netflix this week. And I've watched Suits a long time ago, like a really long time ago, 4 or 5 years ago. And I love this show. I think it's a fantastic show. Do I love that Meghan Markle is in it? No, not really. And her character isn't the best character. We'll just put it that way. But the show is amazing. I'm the daughter of 2 lawyers. You guys know I thought about going to law school. I got in and I decided not to go because of my other stuff that I had going on as a creator. But tell me if you've seen Suits, if this is not the most accurate description of what every episode of this show goes like.
What the hell is this? What took you so long?
Jessica, I thought the McGregor pro bono case had been subpoenaed last week.
And it's still goddamn sitting here, isn't it?
You saying it didn't get approved?
I'm not saying anything.
What am I even supposed to do with this? That ship has sailed.
Harvey, you might think that ship has sailed, but that anchor is still in the sand.
You know what, Jessica? Maybe it's time we stop focusing on the ship and start focusing on the captain.
And what goddamn gives you the right to talk to me that way?
I'm the best closer this city's ever goddamn seen. And when I write off a case as done, it's done.
When you write it off, or the kid writes it off, because we both know you give him your dirty work.
Screw this.
It's my name on the goddamn door, Harvey, mine!
We gotta turn that down so we don't get copyrighted, but amazing. Amazing. Brock and I have been watching it, and at first, let me tell you, this man, he protests every single show that I ever want to watch. Every single show. And he never wants to watch anything that I am watching because he's convinced that his taste in shows is way better than my taste in shows. And then I'll watch like 2 seasons of a show in the other room, and he'll occasionally come in, peek at the TV. We're on season 3 of Suits, and he finally sits down and is like, I like this show. Let's watch it. I'm like, dude, you've missed the entire plot. You can't just pick it up. But that's what he's done. He picked it up, and now we're on season 5. There you go.
Do you think at Harvard they let you stand up and just go to the bathroom?
Probably.
No. You realize that you will be using cursive daily in college, right? This quality of essay would get you euthanized in college. Do you know what a professor does if you turn in something late?
I don't know, deduct points.
Waterboard you. You think this is too much reading for one night? Okay. In college, you will be given 20 minutes to read Moby Dick at gunpoint. You're lucky I let you raise your hands. In college, you will be cold called, and if you don't know the answer, you are pulled to the front of the class and beheaded.
I had so many teachers like that in high school. To be fair, college was pretty hard for me because I was in organic chemistry and human gross anatomy and had to memorize every nerve, muscle, tissue, skin flap, everything that you can possibly imagine in the human body. My friends in like English and poli-sci, college was a joke, okay? These high school teachers genuinely believing that this is like the end of the universe for you to go to college. No. College has become a scam, I swear.
I'm Shelby, and this is how I tie a figure 8.
If you went and showed that form of knot tying to a group of peasants in the 1600s, they would hang you for witchcraft.
To be fair, that's really impressive, the knot that she just tied, as a rock climbing aficionado myself. Very impressive. We gotta watch it again.
This is how I tie a figure 8.
How did she do that?
If you went and showed that form of knot tying to a group of peasants
Witchcraft.
in the 1600s, they would hang you for witchcraft.
Classic.
This is my meal. I call this girl dinner.
Girl dinner! Girl dinner! Girl dinner!
So relatable. Apparently the news was actually covering girl dinners this week at national news level, that they're like appalled and amazed that women sometimes will not have a full meal for dinner but will just have a random assortment of snacks or like a bowl of popcorn. I have a bowl of popcorn for dinner on the reg. Like, popcorn is basically air. So in my mind, I'm like escaping having a dinner because I'm just eating popcorn. Am I insane? Am I the only girl that does that? Because apparently girl dinners really are a trending, catching on thing on TikTok. And popcorn would be my go-to girl dinner, I have to be honest. Okay. I gotta turn it down so we don't get copyrighted, but the best part of this video was the caption, and I have to explain it to you. This guy has like trapped himself inside of one of these random balloon things and looks like a blueberry, and so the caption on Instagram had me literally crying. I'll rewind it so you can watch it. The caption had said, "It's great to see that Violet Beauregard has done something fun with her life and is making the most of a bad situation." And I'm literally so dead because I was immediately transported back to Willy Wonka. Absolutely incredible. Lauren, you get it. You saying in the chat, sometimes girl dinner is popcorn and sometimes it's a 3-course meal. I don't make the rules. Neither do I. Apparently, we just show up and eat whatever we want to eat at that point in time. Going along the lines of the other progressive church, this actually sounds like it could be a totally honest depiction of rebranding a church in 2024.
Mr. Luke here, Senior Global Pastor of Crestwood Community Church, and as some of you know, my father-in-law finally decided to step down a little over 6 months ago and named me Senior Global Pastor. That's right, and over this past 6 months, we've seen Daddy God do so many powerful things in our midst that we really feel like it's time for a rebrand. It's really time for a rebrand. And also, I can't get invited into Mike Todd's green room with a church name like Crestwood Community Church, okay? It's just not gonna happen. So, after thinking long and hard about this new season that Daddy God is bringing us into, we decided to rename our church Daddy's House, where miracles happen. That's
Guys, I actually could see this happening, though. That's the really bad part. I hate it.
right, miracles happen at Daddy's House. So listen, that is our new church name now. We've rebranded. Everything will be up in the next week. We've got jumbotrons, billboards, multiple campuses being renamed. Don't worry about it. You're not even going to be able to tell this was the old church within the next week. So anyway, pull up to church this Sunday, okay? It's going to be lit. And bring your friends, bring your family, and let Daddy God work on them this Sunday.
Cringe
so,
every
I'll see you
time.
There. Okay, take care.
Cringe
okay,
every
are we done now?
time.
Okay, can I go back to the green room now? This is the lobby. There's normal people out here, man. Okay, we can't be recording out here anymore.
Oh my, it's so true, though. It's so accurate, though. It makes me want to, like, die. Josh, it's not a real ad. It feels like it could be. It feels so accurate to me. Oh, man.
How long is this going to take?
I forgot I put that one in there. Go back. This is the most relatable experience, and King Julian is a god among Liebers.
How long is this going to take?
Me every night. Turn down the music. Did you guys see this video of the super drunk woman on the plane saying that guy back there is not real? I can't believe that he's real. So this flight attendant had the perfect response. I might recreate this on my plane tonight. That would be absolutely hilarious. Last but not least, I think this is last. Oh, it is last. Last but not least, there is a whole trending filter on TikTok right now that shows you how you're going to look when you're old. And some people, like this beautiful young woman, look spectacular. They look phenomenal. They look like they aged like fine wine. And then there's other people that look like they aged like a moldy piece of garbage from a sewer in the big city. And I am one of the latter of those people. I have no idea what this filter is doing to my face, but like half of the people on the filter look absolutely incredible, haven't aged a bit. They look phenomenal. Like her, she goes, she looks so fun and full of life. You can literally barely tell the difference between young normal her and fake old her. And then other people look like me and this chick. So I thought I'd show you what the filter makes me look like, because I have no shame and I don't really care. I can laugh at myself, and people don't age very well sometimes, so I pray that I do age better than what this filter is at least suggesting I'm going to age like. Guys, it's bad. How could I possibly look this bad? This is really scary. It's not about the wrinkles. I'm totally fine with getting wrinkles at some point in my life. Like, aging is a privilege. Lauren just said in our chat, aging is a privilege that not everybody gets to experience, and seeing so many people complain about wrinkles is so cringe. I totally agree. I'm never going to complain about the wrinkles, especially when it's like smile wrinkles, right? I'm always going to be happy about that because it will show that I lived a beautiful life. But my entire face structure is like scary here. I look like a Disney villain. I look like the lady in, what movie is that? Is it Snow White? The creepy old hag with the black cape and the big nose. Like, I look terrifying. I'm like, what? Brian says it looks like you took up smoking somewhere along the line. Honestly, it looks like I have let myself go for 85 years. It's terrifying. Brandy says I look like a Karen. Correct. I do. I look terrifying. I don't know. I don't think, does that actually look like Georgia Maloney, you guys think? Georgia Maloney is prettier than this filter. Way prettier than this filter. I had to do the crazy eyes, obviously, just to have some fun. Lauren says older Isabel looks like she has a bomb cookie recipe to pass down. Oh, you know I will, girl. You know I absolutely will. But, ugh, did I get hit by a bus? Did I start doing meth? I don't know. This version of older me really freaks me out. So I learned the lesson this week. I need to do my skincare routine pretty religiously and wear a lot of sunscreen and take really good care of myself, because if I don't, time is not going to be kind to my face. I guess I just watched too many hours of TikTok to this. The best videos that are coming out of this filter, by the way, are people saying what we're going to be talking about in the nursing home in like 2085, and they are absolutely hysterical. Cannot recommend looking at yourself in this filter enough, because it really gave me a good laugh. I forgot I do have one more video for you that I saw, and it's the most bizarre thing I may have ever seen. Do we have anybody watching from Europe right now? Drop it in the chat if you are. We have a lot of Europeans that typically watch the stream, several from the Netherlands, lots from the UK, especially if there's anybody from Poland watching. Let me know in the chat. Johnny, I know you're over in the UK. We got a bunch of people from down under and from Europe. But especially if we have any Europeans watching right now, please voice yourselves and make yourselves known. I came across this video on TikTok. It seems Europeans of certain countries are so fascinated by America's culture and way of life that they are now cosplaying as a stereotypical American. That it's not enough to just like emulate American culture. They're doing cosplay, like you're going to Comic-Con, as a stereotypical American. And this is happening in Poland, and I am so simultaneously flabbergasted and cracked up by this situation. I cannot genuinely believe this is real. Like, this has to be a joke, right? I feel like it has to be.
It's men's fault that
Hang on, I gotta get it all queued up for you. I gotta get it all queued up. Don't hate me.
In Poland, there's a group of people who are cosplaying as American.
They're cosplaying as Americans. This is a real thing. Like, this is a news article. It's not enough to just emulate American culture. You have to cosplay as American culture.
What the fuck? So every 4th of July, they create their own little city, and they say they're dressed up as people from Ohio, but I could have sworn that looks just like Methany.
And I'm going to Ohio tonight. It makes it even better.
From out here in East Texas, in Matthew. So this is what they think we look like. My lord. People, we need to work on our image, okay? They think we're all fucking Methanies.
True. Wait, I gotta start this over, and I'm gonna turn the volume off, and we'll just pause it and go. So we have the denim Daisy Dukes and denim vest and permed hair and red lipstick look. Okay. That's a fascinating choice. What a bizarre turn of events. Then we have the drunk driver getting arrested. People protesting United We Stand with their little picket signs to picket protest things. You've got the cop knocking on somebody's trailer park house. And, of course, the couple inside sitting on the couch in the trailer. You've got In God We Trust outside the church. Barbecue. That one seems appropriate. Whatever this is supposed to be. This looks like a 4th of July 80s costume contest. Like, I'm having a really hard time understanding what this was supposed to be. Another person getting arrested on the hood of their car, because we all get arrested in America. That's so normal that we are doing this. Some guy cooking meth in his house. We're not all Breaking Bad characters. This lady with her cigarette hanging out of her mouth, holding the flag backwards. I really don't understand what's happening here. God bless America. And it has me blacked out. God bless me. Guns in the back of a truck. Is that what I'm looking at correctly here? With the big Duck Dynasty beards, naturally. And bikers eating at a picnic table. That is what we look like in America. Somebody with the deepest V on a V-neck shirt I've ever seen. And that's America. So Poland apparently loves cosplaying as America, which is the funniest thing that I've ever seen. It's actually kind of adorable. Josh, I agree with you. It's weird, but it is kind of adorable. So in case you've lost faith that America is influencing culture in the rest of the world, we are, apparently, to the point that they're having entire conventions to dress like a stereotypical Southern trailer park meth head. And that's a great spot to leave you for today. You guys are totally invited to come join us for our post-stream Q&A. I'm dropping the link right now over on the live chat on all of our platforms so that you can join our locals community, which is a lot more interactive and back and forth and behind the scenes to me, to bonus content that only exists over on locals, and of course to each other, because that's the whole point. We want to make sure that you guys have a chance to get to know each other as well. I challenge you to go figure out what your cosplay costume for Poland would look like if they were to cosplay your stereotypical American life. And if you're not from America, start thinking, and I'll ask you next week, how you would cosplay as an American, because I think it's absolutely hysterical. Love you guys so very much. Wear your sunscreen so that we don't all look like the horrifying filter of what's going to happen if I neglect my moisturizer for the next 60 years. And please, again, keep my sister and her boyfriend in your prayers as they start medical school and a very important journey of their lives. Love you guys also very much. We're back for the stream on Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern, and please consider jumping over to Locals and joining us for our post-stream Q&A. YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, and Getter. We'll see you next week. Locals, don't go anywhere.